Jessie is one of the better supporting characters Naughty Dog has ever written. He's one of the most positive examples of representation I've ever seen, because he subverts the stereotypical Asian male character by being handsome and charming. He's also the only character in Ellie's group who doesn't do anything to darken their soul. If you're going to comment about Dina, then I think the fact that she didn't ask for Ellie to stop once she came back from torturing Nora shows that she was enabling this self-destructive behavior from her girlfriend. As it stands, Jessie is the only one with a Snow White soul on Ellie's team. Even when Jessie learns Dina is pregnant, he still doesn't freak out and force Ellie to leave. How many characters, hell, real-world people, would be totally okay and supportive of their girlfriend hooking up with one of their friends a week after they broke up? Jessie is mature beyond his years. He makes rational and effective choices about how to handle himself. But he's also loyal enough to his friends to defy orders and charge halfway across the country to help them. So that begs the question, is his death an anticlimax and disrespectful end to a character who clearly had more story left to tell, navigating his newfound fatherhood and complicated relationship of his partner? Well, in terms of an anticlimax, I think the answer is no. See, Dina's pregnancy is certainly a massive plot development that would demand a lot of attention from the story, attention that the game simply can't spare as it's bloated to begin with. And dealing with the fallout of a pregnancy and a love triangle isn't really The Last of Us' style. The pregnancy adds tension and stakes to Ellie's journey, as when Dina attacks Abby whilst in her frenzy, our stomachs sink and our hearts leap as Abby has Dina in her clutches, and we know she's especially vulnerable right now. But the real horror comes when we realise that Abby is fully capable of slitting her throat, because Ellie just murdered a pregnant Mel. It also gives something precious to Ellie that she has to make the choice to walk away from in the game's final chapter. It's not really for an HBO-style drama plot twist for conniving characters to try and exploit. Having a love drama between Jessie, Dina, and Ellie over the baby doesn't serve the core story, although it would certainly be an intriguing fanfiction. So while there were certainly more things for Jessie to do in the narrative, it would only serve as a distraction, so I don't think it counts as an anticlimax. But is it disrespectful for the most morally white character to be killed off so unceremoniously and forgotten about in the next scene? Absolutely, and it should be. The long and short of it is, Ellie can't leave Seattle without losing someone. She has sown too much chaos and committed too many atrocities for her to merely leave without punishment. Not killing Abby isn't a punishment for her crimes, it's just a denial of her goal. But for all of the people she murdered who had nothing to do with Joel's death, or the brutal torture of Nora, whose only crime was standing in the room, there has to be penance. And Jessie is the most fitting choice because he's the least deserving choice. Tommy has selfish reasons for coming to Seattle and tortured innocent people just like Ellie did. Dina, as we established, is encouraging this behavior from Ellie, and we can clearly see it's destroying her. But Jessie came only to help his friends, and chooses saving Tommy over hunting Abby, meaning his death is the one that would inflict the most pain on us, the viewer. While having Jessie enter a love triangle dilemma wouldn't be The Last of Us' style, killing him off in an abrupt manner absolutely is. One of the many core themes of The Last of Us Part 2 is hatred is a messy path that ends up destroying everything and everyone around you. So Ellie needs to have destructive and major consequences to her actions, and losing the least guilty person is a more than fitting punishment for her heinous crimes in Seattle. But that's from the viewer's standpoint. What about the characters? Jessie is barely mentioned in the final stretch of the game, despite his sacrifices and the fact that he's the father of Ellie and Dina's child. But in the journal, it says that Dina frequently tells JJ about his father often, and is going to ensure that he knows his father's legacy. What's more, and this isn't confirmed, but I would bet good money that JJ stands for Jessie Joel, as in nearly every written instance of his name, it appears as the two letters JJ, instead of being written out in full as JAY. So while Jessie's name isn't spoken in the final chapter, I think it's safe to say this is because the narrative no longer has the time to spare on him, as by this point in the game, it has more than overstayed its welcome. I'll be back in 2 days. In the meantime, here's a video about how The Last of Us makes the angsty teen trope work.